better hide your heart, because Eli's coming. Actually, you better hide your heart from some other things we have to talk about on the show today. Food stuff. Issues. Eli Karam is a marriage and family therapist. U of L's Kent School of Social Work is what he calls home base, and he's the president now. Hi, Eli. Good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy.
Of the Kentucky
Association for Marriage and Family Therapists.
That's mighty nice. Well, welcome in here. We're going to have two little conversations. One right now, and we'll just start right in the middle of the problem that could be in many, many marriages, and that's money distribution.
Money.
And bundle that into the time of year when people think about gambling a little bit. Those issues have to bubble up in marriages a lot.
Believe it or not, all around Kentucky, couples are coming in and talking about getting ready for the Derby, which is a great event. It makes you proud to be a Kentuckian, but it requires some coordination, especially around money. So I guess that'd be a good place to start today. What you need to do to have a successful Derby, as far as planning with your partner and with your family. And I think one of that is, as you said, to start with, Terry, is planning a budget. And I'm talking a budget around clothes. You know, your fascinator, your cowboy hat fascinator.
Oh,
probably
that thing was
$20,
man. That was a bargain. $20.
But we joke. I mean, it's so much money spent on one day, even if you.
Well,
if
seriously.
you go all out. Yeah.
The other day we had a little fashion segment on TV, and the hat was $700. The hat.
You know, my wife is a Chicagoan, and she has never, I was born and raised in Louisville, was away for about 15 years. We've never done the Derby, so we're doing it this year, the Oaks and Derby. And my wife, who's pretty cost conscious, could not believe what it cost for one day. And we're talking about hats. We're talking about clothes for the men and the women. You got to look good on Derby Day and Oaks Day. And then we're not even talking about things like dinners before or after, transportation. I mean, you have to have a budget going in with your spouse.
But what happens, though, Eli? I mean, a lot of people can figure on that. All right, we're going to spend this much, and we'll just consider this the high holy season for fun because it's our hometown's big dance.
Right.
It's the gambling and the drinking. You know, you throw down a couple of these, and all of a sudden, it's a brilliant idea. Let's go 100 across the board. And really, you're wading into some territory that may be uncomfortable financially.
Yeah, exactly. So there's the cost, and then there's these other costs just when you're there during the day having fun. How much are we going to spend on drinks, and how much are we going to spend on gambling? And that's a good one. I know we're going to talk about that later. But this idea of, have a budget around your drinking, your dinners, your gambling, and hold to that. And you do not want to do that the night before, the day of. You want to have a clear dialogue with your partner around these specific areas about what are we going to spend. And you want both people to buy into it. You don't want to feel guilty about having a fun day. And one way not to feel guilty, Terry, is to agree on that ahead of time. And that means probably giving and taking a little. And for a lot of people...
Here's an issue. Yeah. She makes $67,000 and he makes $41,000. Right. And then sometimes there's a rub there for people because, well, who are you to tell me what I'm going to spend on gambling? I make more than you.
Right, exactly. So you do not want to phrase it in a proposition like that because not only will feelings get hurt, but then in that example, the spouse says, well, you spent more on your outfit than me, so it evens out. And so we go tit for tat. So again, you want an agreed upon budget, and you also want, you want your partner to know why this is important to you. And if the more transparent you are as far as, what you're doing, especially if you have some weird betting strategy or you're betting this on that, sometimes people don't want to know, but other times people just like the invitation to know your partner is being transparent. There should be no surprises that day, too. And that, surprises also happen, or these fights happen at the track. You've probably been there and you've seen couples get into it after a bad wager. Yeah.
I've worked 27 derbies and I have seen things that blow my mind. I think there's no way they're going to survive this.
Right. So you also probably want to have a limit. You want to have a good time, but if one juleps becomes two, becomes three, becomes four, alcohol exacerbates all of these fights and public displays. A lot of times when the gambling doesn't work out right or your wager doesn't go the way it's planned. So you kind of want to limit that. And another thing too, what causes hard feelings even before, you got to have the child care taken care of. If you have young kids like I do, getting the child care, especially on those 2 days when everybody wants to enjoy their Oaks or Derby, so sometimes be challenging. So if you haven't done that already, you might be out of luck. And a lot of times it helps the one spouse that usually is in charge of doing that. If the other spouse helps out, gets that child care,
takes the initiative to just say, let me handle that, honey.
Yeah, another thing.
And then on the day of the Oaks, in the morning, there's a knock on the door, and there's a dude there wearing a leather vest. He's all tatted up and blinged out here, and then it's on his motorcycle. I'm here to watch the kids.
Right. And
so be smart about that.
Exactly. Pick wisely. You want someone that your spouse is going to be comfortable with, because, if you're like most people, even if you love horses or you're really into the day, if your spouse is miserable, worried about your kids the whole time, you're probably not going to have a good time.
We're going to run out of time here, so sit tight. We're going to get back to the segment because I want to talk about how all this plays in after the Derby's over, and or any other event. You go to the Super Bowl or whatever, and it's a big expenditure, let's just say, and things don't go your way. And then how do you keep your marriage rolling forward without letting this be a soul-crushing end to things when you didn't plan well? That's good stuff to talk about, too. Dr. Eli Karam's in the studio. His website is elikaram.com. Karam is spelled Karam. Back with sports next.